So, we're living in this incredible age of amazing tools, right? I mean, AI can write code, it can generate designs, analyze data in seconds. So why? Why does it feel like our teams are still stuck in slow motion? I bet you've felt this frustration. It's that sense of being caught in a digital traffic jam, even when you've got a rocket under the hood.
Yeah, it's this crazy paradox of the modern workplace, isn't it? We've given everyone these supercharged tools for their individual tasks, but the overall project timeline? It barely budges. So what are we missing here? What's the invisible force that's holding us all back?
Well, it turns out we've been looking in completely the wrong spot. The problem isn't the tool, it's the broken system we keep plugging these new tools into. The real bottleneck is how work moves, or, more accurately, how it doesn't move between all the smart people on your team. To fix this, we first have to really understand the real enemy of speed. And it's not a person, it's not a department, it's this invisible part of the process that is quietly, sneakily sabotaging all of our best efforts.
And this quote from Donald Reinertson, it absolutely nails it. Queues. That's the enemy. Just think about it for a second. Every single time work gets handed off, from a designer to a developer, from a dev to QA, it doesn't just move, it stops. It gets in line and it waits. And all those seemingly small waits, they add up to a catastrophic loss of time and money.
Okay, look at this. This slide just lays it all out. And honestly, it's brutal. This is from a real 24-month project, 2 years, and the actual value-adding work, just 4 months of it. That means for 20 months, an entire year and a half, nothing was happening. Just waiting. Waiting for approvals, for reviews, waiting for the next person in the chain. Over 80% of the entire project was wasted in a queue. It's insane.
All right, so if queues are the villain of this story, the solution isn't just trying to manage them a little better. It's about getting rid of them completely. And that requires this fundamental shift in how we think. We need to stop seeing AI as just another tool to speed up one little step in the line and start treating it like a true teammate.
And that brings us to the core idea in this book, something called CollabAI. Now, this is not a new piece of software. It's a really powerful way of working. Forget all the handoffs. Just imagine for a second a room, or, a virtual space, with the designer, the developer, the customer, and the AI are all looking at the same screen, solving the exact same problem together in real time.
You can see the change so clearly right here. The old way up top, that's just a long, clunky chain of handoffs and queues. CollabAI completely collapses that entire chain into a single shared loop. Design, development, deployment, it all happens at the same time. The waiting, poof, it just vanishes.
Okay, so this sounds amazing in theory, right? But what about in the real world? What actually happens? Well, the results from the first case studies are, and I'm not exaggerating, absolutely staggering. They show a completely different rhythm of work as possible.
First up, 100 times faster iteration. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. A typical design sprint might get you one tested prototype in a week, maybe. The CollabAI team, they produced and tested 40 in a single hour. You're not just moving faster, you're learning at a pace that is almost impossible to compete with. And then there's this, 500 times faster decision-making. And you're probably thinking, how is that even possible? Well, it's because decisions no longer have to wait for a weekly meeting. When the customer and the team are in the same loop, critical choices get made every few minutes. That feedback cycle shrinks from weeks down to moments.
And this one might be my favorite. 90% fewer coordination meetings. When everyone is working on the same thing at the same time, alignment isn't this thing you have to schedule a meeting for. It just happens. It's the natural result of the workflow. The work itself becomes the coordination.
Now, here's the most important part. These results, they aren't some kind of magic. They are the outcome of a simple, really practical framework that any team can use. So let's break down how it actually works.
It really boils down to 4 simple core practices. First, you have one shared goal, so everyone's focus is perfectly aligned. Second, one screen, creating a single source of truth for the entire team. Third is role rotation, which keeps the energy high and spreads knowledge around. And finally, AI in the loop, where you're treating the AI as a full collaborator, not just some tool you command.
And this diagram, this is how it all clicks together. Think of this as the engine that drives CollabAI. You start the day, you set that shared goal. Then you just enter this continuous collaboration loop with the team and the AI working together, reflecting, delivering,
It completely replaces all those rigid sprints and ceremonies with this living, breathing rhythm of shared momentum.
So look, this is a totally new way of thinking about teamwork. And like any new skill, it really helps to have a guide, right? A playbook that shows you not just the what, but the how. And that, my friends, is exactly what this book is. CollabAI, AI Teamwork in Practice. It is the step-by-step guide to escaping those horrible cues and finally finding your team's flow. It breaks down the framework, the habits you need to build, and the paths to help you make this shift, starting today.
So it all comes down to this one last question for you. I want you to really think about your own team, your own projects. How much of your time is actually spent creating value, and how much of it is spent just waiting? If you're ready to change that ratio, it might be time to stop working in line and start working in a loop.